Hello and welcome to the next story in my series. Today I'm going to be telling the story of Alice in Wonderland. Once upon a time there lived a little girl called Alice. Alice lived in the English countryside. She was a curious little girl and she enjoyed exploring and going on adventures. One sunny afternoon, Alice was feeling a little bored. She looked around and on the riverbank she saw a rabbit hopping past. It seemed to be in a hurry and pulled out a pocket watch while saying, "I'm late, I'm late." Interested, Alice followed the rabbit. She watched as he disappeared down a rabbit hole. Without thinking, Alice followed him and jumped into the rabbit hole. Down, down, down she fell and entered a magical world. She landed in a hallway with doors of all different sizes. On a table there was a key. Alice put the key in the door and opened it. Through the door was a beautiful garden with mysterious talking animals. She met a Cheshire cat who could disappear and reappear whenever he wanted. The Cheshire cat told her to visit the March Hare's house, which she did. On arriving at the March Hare's house, she met the Mad Hatter. The Mad Hatter and the March Hare were having a never-ending tea party. It was all very silly, and Alice couldn't help but laugh, even though a lot of it didn't make sense. After the tea party, Alice wandered into the garden and met the Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts was loud, and when she didn't get her way, she shouted, "Off with their heads!" Alice bravely stood her ground. There was a big court case, but nothing made sense. Alice looked around her. And as she did, she noticed that she was beginning to grow taller and taller. And the bigger she got, the more cross the Queen of Hearts became. "Off with her head! Off with her head!" she shouted. Alice blinked, and suddenly she was back on the riverbank. She smiled and thought about the curious and magical world that she had just visited and the characters that she had met. It had been a strange and magical dream, but she felt more brave and more curious than ever before. She knew that she would always remember her exciting journey through Wonderland and the lessons that she'd learned about being curious, standing up for herself, and believing in her imagination. Thank you so much for joining me once again for another classic tale, and please join me again next week for the next story in our series.